Hello there, everyone. Welcome to another video. My name is Steven Stebalevich. I'm the founder of AdStruck Digital, and today what I'm going to be walking you through is how to run Facebook ads. Now, this is just going to be a beginner's guide. I'm not going to go into any optimizations, anything fancy. I'm just going to show you how to set up your first campaign, basically, if you have a brand new ad account and you've never done this before. In case you have any doubt that I don't know what I'm talking about, I have managed about $4 million in ad spend in the last 3 years across both Meta and Google. That is not to brag. That is just to make sure that you know I am not just a scammer and a fraud. I make no income claims. All I do is give you the knowledge from my experience in my own journey. So, with that being said, I'm going to go into how you can make your first campaign, get it all set up, and get it launched as well. So when you're at this screen, you always want to create a new campaign. It's always what you're going to do. Now, when you're here, depending on what your goal is, okay, you're going to pick whatever one is your goal. Now, sales basically means you're going to directly sell something to people right off the website. So that might be for like e-commerce, like a teddy bear, a frisbee, whatever. App promotion is going to be for actually getting people to download an app off of the App Store. Leads, generate leads. Engagement is when you're just looking for people to engage more with the post. So it's literally exactly what it sounds like. It's just, I want more likes, more comments, etc. Basically, I want to go viral. Traffic is when you're trying to get people to visit a website and get more traffic to it. Part of the reason that's relevant is for SEO. If you are doing SEO, you probably have a company that might ask you to put money into ads for that reason. I've never used it though, and I never will probably. And then there's awareness, which is basically just you want to raise awareness for whatever it is. Maybe you're hosting an in-person event, you have a grand opening for your, new store, whatever. You just want more people to be aware of your brand, whatever that may be. Might be for retargeting, right? The only two objectives I have ever used are leads and awareness. And I'm going to be going into how to set up a leads campaign today because this is going to be most relevant for you guys. Now, the other ones, I don't really feel confident enough to talk about them in detail. Leads are the one is the type of objective I have managed 99% of the time throughout all the ads I've ever managed. So that's the one that I'm going to talk about head on today. So you press leads and you press continue. Now, at the campaign level, I always like to organize things as well. That's just me personally. I usually name the campaign the audience type and then the date. So let's say that we were going after lawyers. So I would name this lawyers, and then today is July 14th. So I would make this July 14th. Next is the budget. So there's two budget strategies. There is campaign budget optimization. There's also ad set budget optimization. Now, the difference is that at the campaign budget optimization level, basically, you're going to tell Facebook you spend the money however you want to spend it. So you're not telling Facebook to spend the money here or forcing it to spend on a specific ad that you launch. That campaign budget basically just means that you are letting Facebook decide where it wants to spend your money. If you're doing it at the ad set level, that's when you're controlling it more. You're controlling the spend. Because just as an example of this, if you have two ad sets, what you can do is you can split your budget. Let's say it's $100 a day. You can split it into $50 per ad set. And if each ad set has one ad, then you're forcing Facebook to spend $50 on an ad. You might be doing that because you're split testing. Usually, you don't do that until you have more data later down the line. That's more of an advanced thing as well. But when you're first starting off, my general rule of thumb for a campaign structure setup is one campaign, one ad set, three ads. Leave the budget at the campaign budget optimization level. For the budget, I recommend anywhere from $75 to $100 a day. Please, I would put 100 if you could at a minimum. That's what you're going to need because Facebook needs about 50 conversions in a matter of a week to get out of the learning phase. And if you're not spending enough money to get those conversions, then it's like, it's always in learning basically. So I would recommend $100 a day if you have the budget for sure. But if you only have 75, like that would be fine too. Anything under 75 is going to be pretty hard to like make work in my opinion, depending on who you're targeting, because it also depends on how expensive your leads are. So for and that depends on a lot of advanced metrics like the LTV, the cost per acquisition, etc. But just as an example of this, if you're targeting, you know, just general homeowners, like that's not that expensive. Like maybe you got to put $30 a day into it. If you're targeting, you know, really large Fortune 500 companies and the CEOs of those companies, you need to be putting in at least like $1,000 a day, right? Because it depends on the value of the audience. Not that the CEOs are better than the normal people, but that those CEOs are going to pay more money for the service or product you're selling than a typical normal homeowner, right? So that's why the lead is more expensive, and that's why you have to put more into it as well. But simply put, use the campaign budget, $100 a day if you can. Then click next and go to ad set. Now the ad set is going to be the demographic / audience targeting. So basically what an ad set is in Facebook is it's the audience and the person you're going after. Now you can make this broad. You can make it someone interested in certain things. You can make it website visitors that you've had. You can make it people that have followed your page on LinkedIn, right? You can make it a bunch of different things. For us at Adstruct Digital, what we always do is we start off, especially if it's a brand new ad account, with an interest, and we always just name it interest stack number 1, and then we're going to save that audience to later down the line. Now, I'll come back into like the forms and all that stuff later on, but the audience is going to be most relevant here. So right now we have a Advantage Plus audience on. So that's very AI driven by Meta. Basically, it wants to find the audience for you. That's not what we want to do at the moment. We want to press further limit the reach of your ads, switch the setup, and then you want to choose interests. Now, I always choose interests based on two things: the job title of the person, if they are, you know, the specific job title, and then their actual interests by keywords, right? Now, let's say we're going after lawyers, right? So I want, you know, owners of law firms, right? So I would do co-owner, owner, founder, right? And then you guys get the point. Like let's say, you know, CEO, COO, partner, right? So you just want to make it relevant to the people that you actually want the ads to show to. Next, for interests, I would totally make this about interests relative to law. So what I would do is I would type in law, and I would just pick keywords relative to it, right? You know, corporate lawyer. That's a job title. Oops, don't want that there. Yeah. Estate law. Law firm. Right? You get the point. Basically, what you're doing is you're telling Facebook like the type of person you want to go after. Usually, most people would say this isn't like a good thing to do. The only reason it's good to do with your first ever campaign is because Facebook has no data in that ad account, right? There are aged ad accounts you can buy that like have previous data in it. People sell those for sometimes thousands of dollars because they are so valuable, right? So when you have a brand new ad account though, you have to choose the interest because we need to point Facebook in the right direction somewhat. Facebook is super smart. 99% of the time, your best performing campaign is going to be a campaign targeting a broad audience. But when you're starting off, you want to make sure that you're using the interest stack, like so, right? And going back up here, so when you're getting leads, you have basically a few options as to how you want to get them. The three main ones, though, are going to be Messenger, Instant Forms, and then website. Now, if you do website, it means you're going to send them to a website. If you do instant form, it means that you're going to send them to a form that is still on Facebook that people fill out, and it's like it's fast, it's smooth. The only bad thing about it is it does get a lot of fake leads sometimes, so just be on the lookout for that. If that does happen, I recommend you just switch to website right away. And then there's the Messenger. So basically, you are going to need a lot of virtual assistants / outreach managers if you do this, because what Messenger does is for the ad, it makes people send you a DM to your account. And if you're putting in even like $70 a day into that, you're going to get a lot of DMs. It's going to be a lot to manage. It's going to be complex. It's going to be overwhelming. So you want to have people on your team that are dedicated to that. We really have only ever done instant forms and website, but you can do Messenger because that can be a good tactic depending on what you're selling. For the Facebook page, just choose whatever page, whatever your company is. For performance goal, I always start off with number of leads because some people think you want to maximize the number of conversion leads, which means that we're going to try to show the ads to people most likely to convert after sharing the contact info. So we're going to show the ads to people that are most likely to become a customer. It's not that that's not a bad idea. It's just that the account, again, doesn't have any conversion data in it. It's in learning mode. Facebook needs about 50 conversions before it gets out of learning mode. So, and that's per campaign. So, I always start off with maximize number of leads because I just want to start getting leads in the door so we can start collecting some sort of data. And then the last thing here is going to be placements. So when it comes to placements, I do the same exact thing every single time, and so does like 99% of people who market on Facebook. So Advantage Plus placement basically means they're going to put it everywhere. So they're going to put it on the feed, the Reels, the Stories, the Marketplace, the Explore page, the Messenger app. The problem with that is that's a huge waste of money because if it's in anywhere that isn't the main parts of Facebook and Instagram. So 99% of users on those platforms, they really only spend their time in 3 places. Stories, Reels, feed. That's it. So what you want to do is go to placement controls and completely check off apps and sites, completely check off search results. Oops, my light just went off. Come on. That happens sometimes. So you want to completely turn off search results and apps and sites, and then in-stream ads for videos and reels as well. Click down on the stories and reels drop-down menu, and then just click off of Instagram profile reels. Only leave stories and reels checked off. Close that up. Go to feeds, and then you want to get rid of everything except for Facebook feed and Instagram feed. Everything else is irrelevant. It's a waste of money if people are clicking on your ads in any of the other places on Facebook or Instagram that aren't one of these 6. Then it's just a complete waste of your money, in my opinion, and anyone would say that, because that's not where people are spending their time. And if you do leave it on, Facebook's not going to spend a bunch of money there, but if you're spending $3,000 a month and it puts $300 towards one of anywhere that isn't that, I mean, that's still a huge waste of money, and you could have gotten maybe 5 extra leads for that, right? So I always turn that off or those off, and I only have it in those 6 places. That's pretty much it for the ad set, guys. You can leave everything else as is. The only other thing I would say is make the age 25 minimum, depending on who you're targeting. So as an example, you're not going to have an 18-year-old who's a decision maker at a law firm, right? So it doesn't make sense to go after 18-year-olds. But you can change the area as to if you want to go after a specific state. Most people are going to be going after the whole U.S., though. Start date, that's irrelevant. Yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for the ad set. And then when it comes from the ad, this is really, really simple. Always check off multi-advertiser ads. Delete the initial media in here because that's irrelevant. If you're using a website, you want to make sure you have the pixel set up. That's a whole nother thing I can cover in another video, though. When it comes to the creative, so pretty much you can pick any ad here. Let's just say this doesn't make sense as for a lawyer, but let's say this is like an ad we would run for a custom home builder. So if we're doing this custom home builder, you write the text. So the text, just so everyone knows, is the caption. The headline is the bold lettering that's under or that's next to the call to action button, and the description is the little text under that bold text. And then the call to action is the call to action button, right? Always use learn more. I'm not going to explain why. Just do it. It works every time. Image generation, you want to make sure this is just skip and continue that. Don't worry about that. These active enhancements, you always want to turn these off as well because they are not good. It's like AI thing, some AI thing that Meta forces on you or tries to force on you. It only hurts your performance, so I would not recommend doing it. Um, and I'm going to show you guys an example of like an ad from a competitor, that is like actually written so that you guys can see what a real ad looks like. All right, so this is like super boring, but there is actually a thing called the ad library on Facebook where you can actually go to like look at your competitors' ads. I randomly chose this big cybersecurity company in the U.S., but I just want to show you guys this to break down like what an ad actually looks like. So if you go to the ad details here, uh, the headline is this: read the Forrester TEI study. The call to action button right there is that learn more. This is the primary text, so it's basically like a caption on an Instagram post. And then this is an ad that has a description, so explore the adversary universe to learn how the world's blah, blah, blah. Super boring. You get it though. That is a description, right? So that's like the main parts of an ad. Whenever we write our ads, we always have primary text, we always have a call to action button, we always have a headline, and then sometimes we'll have a description. I personally don't think it's a big deal. It's never made a difference in our performance. But if you want to add one, you can. In my opinion, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. I would also start off with 3 ads. So that's what I would test to start off. If you're gonna, do some testing in the beginning of your marketing, I would definitely start off with 3 ads for sure. And then this is an example of a performance campaign, or I'm sorry, a form on a campaign. So when you do this, let me just give you an example of this. So this is what a form looks like on Facebook. It's basically just like, you have your introduction to get people to actually fill out the form, and then there are questions on it as well. You can make your questions multiple choice. You can make them, single lined, multiple lined. They can write a whole book on them if you want, right? It's really up to you. And then at the end, they're also going to write some contact information as well. So the full name, email, number, and then you can ask them for, their company name, the town they live in, right? Setting up forms is a whole other thing. I might make a whole video on that too, but basically, it's just the questions on a form, and this keeps them on Facebook. So the difference between this and a website is that this does not take them to a website. It takes them to this, where it's not a website. It's still Facebook or Instagram.com. I would start off with these because if you can make these work, they work wonders because the volume is always more than websites. However, there has been a problem lately on Facebook where a lot of the leads coming through the forms are bots. Like they're fake leads. Like it's like just, Selena Gomez at gmail.com is like the lead coming through, like for all of them, like no joke. So it's been hard to make those work recently, but if you can, and you can actually get good lead volume with them, your cost per lead is like almost always going to be lower than it is on a website, because more people are willing to fill out a quick, easy form that Facebook sets up than a website. But if you can make it work, definitely would recommend that too. But that's like what it is. That's what a form is on an ad. That's how I set up ads personally as well. It's up to you to get creative with like your copywriting and what your offer is and all that. And I can, again, help you guys with all that in other videos. The whole point of this video is just to give you a basic rundown of how ads work. And so the overall structure here, again, in case I didn't already say it, is you have one campaign, one ad set, 3 ads with campaign budget optimization on. Always start with an interest stack as your first audience, and then switch to broad once you have data coming in as well, because now the ad account has more data to get more leads. If you guys have any questions on this, please drop them in the comments below. Also, if you want me to make a video on anything specific here, like how to write good ads, how to target people, how to make a good form, pixel setup, whatever. Like I'll probably do all of that anyway eventually. But please let me know what you guys are interested in hearing. I am more than happy to help you guys out, provide as much value as I can. And other than that, I will see you in the next one.